Hey everybody, Amex here. It's time. A lot of you have been waiting very patiently for me to address the elephant in the room, and we have reached a juncture where it is appropriate and necessary for me to present the cogent points on my perspective of what happened, and more importantly, to take ownership of it. So, as a prelude to today's show, we're going to take a few minutes, and on a very serious note, that's what we're going to do. I really would just like to say my piece on it and then put it in the past. So here we go. Let's get into it. I've chosen to be very quiet on this until now, primarily because I wanted to respect the sanctity and seriousness of the process, and I wanted to go through the process like everybody else. I did not want to taint the outcome by litigating in the court of public opinion. I don't particularly want to relitigate it now. What's done is done, what's decided is decided, and we're in the moving on phase. But I recently received a disciplinary action from USPSA for actions I took at a local all-classifier match. It's at one of the clubs local to me that I'm very active in. This was not my event. I was not match director at it. In short, I had some maintenance issues come home to roost and ended up shooting a bunch of horrible scores, and was fairly frustrated by that. I have been working pretty hard on a classifier goal. I find them engaging. I'm a very goal-oriented person, so I was very fixated on a goal and made a decision in an incorrect frame of mind. In recent times, the classifier system has been changed, and inadvertently, they have somewhat created some unintended loopholes for people to shield from the scores they get in matches, and that's not the intent. So, unbeknownst to me, they had been making changes to close those loopholes. More specifically, if you listen to episode 96 of the NRY podcast, they're talking about withholding your competitor number and then putting it in later, and or DQing from matches. There's been fairly significant instances of both of those, and that is where I fall into it here. In all this, essentially, as an analogy, all right? Think of it as speeding. What we're about to talk to, I looked at as 5 to 10 over. They look at it as reckless driving. So reckless driving is what I got, or the equivalent. But in this instance, like I say, we've discussed on the show, the temptation is there for some folks. It's been talked about to DQ from a match. In this case, I fell victim to that temptation, and I actually did it. So I called myself out on a DQable offense. That actually happened, but I called myself out and put it in the tablet. But the intent was wrong. All right, where I went wrong was the intent, not so much what I did or the actual infraction. The intent was established that I was trying to hide from a score. Like I said, I looked at it as a classifier or a local match. Classifiers really only affect me. But the greater perspective in the totality of the organization, they see it as much more serious than that, as I would become and am aware now. So, called myself out on a DQ, put that in the tablet, and the org has since taken the position and sought to define that as cheating. Had I known they'd taken that position, this wouldn't have happened. If I had involved more people in the decision, that wouldn't have happened. All right, so the mistake was wrongful intent and acting unilaterally. Not explicitly against the rules, but the intent of which the board classifies as unsportsmanlike conduct. And that's what we got here. And so when I popped up on their radar, they initiated the disciplinary process. What does that process look like? Well, about a week after the match, I was contacted for a phone call, which I thought was a discussion, but would more readily be described as a statement. So what I said was taken as a statement, and then basically they stopped the recording and said, "Okay, so you have admitted to cheating, and we will be in touch with you." I'm like, whoa, what? And I was informed of all these changes, and that such as going forward, all classifier scores shot to completion will count whether you DQ or not, to close this loophole. Because some people have, I did not, but some people have done very dangerous things to DQ themselves on purpose, and so that is behavior that is to be discouraged, and so they're moving in the direction of doing that. And same thing, they've put the onus on match directors now to make sure that people are giving their competitor numbers, so that all the scores count. So essentially, every match is nationals, everything counts every time, and the days of gaming classifiers are over. But I was contacted, they got that statement, and like I said, because, again, using our analogy of speeding here, I thought I was in like that 5 to 10 range, so I was very open and honest about what I did. I was informed that I was, in the eyes of the organization, more on the reckless driving side of the spectrum, and they would deliberate about how it would be dealt with, and they would be in touch. And that turned into several days of waiting, but that was a very stressful several days. And there are, in my understanding, there's a couple executive sessions where they deliberated such things, and then I received a decision, and that decision comes with the opportunity to appeal, and I took the opportunity to do so. The initial decision was very heavy-handed, so I wanted to take the opportunity to make a case. And that's where I solicited a lot of you to write into the board. I was purposely vague in soliciting those responses because I did not want to stir up the howler monkey rhetoric that we've seen in years past. In my locale, that energy is very volatile. Those embers are still very warm. So I did not want to stir that up by putting my dirty laundry out into the public. So that was where I solicited, if you think I've had a positive influence on the sport, please contact the board, because by and large, except for one person, I don't think any of these guys even knew my name. Like, these aren't people that as involved with USPSA as I am, I don't really interact with or have contact with any of the board members, really, and certainly not the new class of them. So hearing through the grapevine, they were trying to get a feel on what I was like. They didn't know me as a person. Am I the kind of person who's going to put two birds up in the air and tell them all what's up, or what? So I crowdsourced folks to give them some perspective on my personality. Now, mind you, this is after they've already decided. So they've already reached a decision, and essentially they're giving me an opportunity to change their mind. And that's really what the appeal is like. That's a Zoom meeting, and it's very much, if you're familiar with the Steven Crowder bit or all the memes that you see out there, they have an opinion, change our mind. And that's really what it is. They position it as somewhat an arbitration. So, if, like in a match, if you disagree with an RM, you can submit an appeal based on rules and not considered information. How would you argue this be decided differently? And that's essentially what I tried to do. That was how I was coached to approach it, both from the committee themselves and other people around the situation. And it's a difficult spot to be in because you're essentially trying to be humble, apologetic, and try and make a cogent counterpoint. And those three things don't always get along at the same time. I don't know that I particularly pulled that off, if I were to be terribly honest. Most of the coaching I got was to just be very apologetic and say I was sorry, roll over and die. But the premise of the meeting is you have some counterpoint that we need to consider, so give us your counterpoint. It's a difficult spot to be in. They basically let you talk until you stop talking, and then they ask you another question, and then they let you talk. And when you stop talking, they ask you another question until there's no more questions. It was about 52 minutes of basically interview Adam. And after that, they basically said they were going to take a couple more weeks and deliberate on the totality of the information and reconsider their position, deliberate, and I received a final decision 2 weeks later. While still very serious, the final decision is significantly reduced from the initial one. Out of respect for the board reducing it, I'm not going to get into the details of what those two were. But suffice to say, I do think all of you, my friends and listeners who did take the time to write in heartfelt messages to the board, I would credit you with that change. More so than my litigation skills, I think the community as a whole were the ones that changed the temperature of the room on that. So while reduced, and reduced is rare, if ever, for this stuff, I wouldn't call it a win. It's still, I think, pretty lose-lose all the way around, but it is less, and I do have a pathway back to the sport, which is something I'm very appreciative of. And what I did was wrong. Full stop. All right. In hindsight, presented with the counterpoint, I'm mature enough to understand and realize and acknowledge what I did was wrong. I made a bad decision in a poor frame of mind. I acted unilaterally without involving someone else. If anything around DQs, I would think for the future that be a two-step process. Like if I were still on the rules committee, that two people have to be involved in that process. One person shouldn't make that decision. And obviously someone should not make that decision about themselves, given the totality of the situation, given the seriousness that the org takes with that. So I was wrong. I regret it very much. If I could go back, I would change it. Butterfly effect be damned. I would change it. But I can't. I'm very sorry about the whole thing. I'm sorry for everybody who had to get involved, both on the USPSA side and the club side. Especially on the club side, I'm really, really sorry that friends got involved in this and had to take time away from other things to deal with this. It's just regrettable all the way around. And I'm really sorry about the effects that this is going to have on the sport and the community and things within the sport that I put a lot of effort into building. After what you're listening to right now, my intention really is to accept my punishment quietly and serve my time, if you will. I want to use the time to reflect on the lessons to be learned here and use those to grow. And also, I intend to use it to evaluate the direction forward. It's time, not of my choosing, but it's time to step back. It's time to take a step back and evaluate my place in USPSA and perhaps the sport at large. I am very, very grateful for all of you who chose to stand beside me on this. There aren't very many opportunities in a lifetime to really find out who your friends are, and I am beyond humbled by my collection of friends and the community that supported me in this despite me making a bad decision and being unequivocally wrong here. I don't have words. I'm very taken aback by how many of you stood beside me through all this, when perhaps it's not an easy thing to do. I'm also very grateful to the board of USPSA for giving me a pathway back to the sport. They didn't have to do that. I do have a pathway back, even though I do have to step away from USPSA for a time. I am a multidisciplinary athlete. I shoot in action shooting outside of USPSA, so for this season I'm still going to be active shooting, just not as active as I was going to be. I'm still active in clubs that present action shooting in other disciplines. I intend to maintain my commitments to them to the extent that I'm able to and abide by this decision. And I really look forward to the opportunity to return to USPSA next spring. What form or fashion that will be, to what extent, well, a year's a long time. Time heals all things, but it changes perspectives, and I don't know that I could. I think it would be. I don't know that I'll know sitting here today how I'm going to feel about it then, but I do look forward to the opportunity to return, and I intend to quietly wait until such time as that is appropriate to do so. I hope we can all agree that a bad decision doesn't make a bad person. Everybody makes bad decisions. I clearly made one here. I'm accountable to my decisions. This decision comes choices and consequences. Consequences here. It comes with a punishment, and I have to abide by it, and I'm accepting my punishment. But as a judge on my character, I hope we can all agree that a bad decision doesn't make a bad person. And I think I would like to leave it right there. So now we will return to your regularly scheduled programming of On the Perf podcast. If you're new here, we do this every week. If you care about this issue enough to come and find this pod, maybe stick around. We probably put out something that you'll enjoy. But we're gonna put a period on this and put it in the past.
And welcome to the show, everybody. For those of you who just came for the drama, this is the actual show on the Perf podcast. My name is Adam Reiser. With me today, as always, my good friend, Mr. Adam Maxwell, just getting off the road. How was your trip, buddy?
I'm in the prime condition that you like to do shows with me in. I got
you're tired and Red Bulled up?
Yeah, I got 2 hours of sleep last night, Red Bulled up, And yeah, let's talk about something else.
Dude, my favorite. It's always fun when Maxwell's tired and just surviving on nothing but White Monster. Is White Monster your go-to? It seems to be.
It's a baseline. It's a baseline.
Yeah,
but
it's a
like,
baseline.
I'm kind of like a bourbon connoisseur. Like I like them all.
Okay.
But you
All
got
right, fair enough.
you got your standby.
Yeah.
What's
All right.
funny is I didn't always like White Monster. Like at first I didn't like it, and then it just kind of grew on me for reasons I couldn't explain. And now it's just the baseline.
I'm there with those Leinenkugel summer shandies. The first time I ever had one, I was like, this tastes like ass. Why would anybody drink this? And then the second time I had one was at the end of like a 24-mile desert bike ride. And it's like, this is the best beer. It's like lemonade and beer. It's everything I want right now.
Yeah.
And now it's just like my go-to like hot summer drink. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
It's all about context, man. It's all about context.
Truth be told, my fridge is stocked with Jocko Fuel.
Ooh.
But they don't sell that at the gas station. So away from home in the wild, when you have to, forage for your caffeine, I usually poach it at the Quick Trip.
Nice. Well, folks, as always, we are brought to you by Atlas Gunworks and Perfect Zero. On the Perf, in one word, gets 10% off a single cart over at perfectzero.com. And we have some news for you because craziness is happening in the double stack 1911 world. When I bought my first double stack 9mm 1911 platform mags,
When I was a young warthog.
they were effing expensive. I paid, I think, $140 per mag. And then I changed out the springs and followers to Graham springs and followers, so they ran better. So I was like a comfortable 155 a mag into these things without breaking a sweat. And then Atlas mags came out, and they were $95 a mag, and that was way better. And this week, Perfect Zero mags came out, and they're $45 a mag, which is like a super reasonable amount of money to spend on a pistol mag, finally.
45 Friday.
45. So the body of the mag is exactly the same as the Atlas mags. The only difference is they run a polymer base pad, so they don't have to machine a bunch of aluminum stuff and add that cost into there. And they're definitely taking a smaller margin on them. They're not losing money on the thing, but they're not making what they normally make on mags because they're kind of sick of just, double stack 1911 mags costing what they cost, and they feel like that's not the way the world should work. So they did something about it.
That's a volume game, especially with the other manufacturers in the wide body 1911 space. Like, there's just a need for the mags. So, if they can put them out at that price, it's a pennies game. They're looking for volume there, but it's super cool that you have an option in that price point, given the resurgence of the popularity of the platform.
Yeah, indeed. So on the Perf, one word, gets 10% off, which is only going to be about, $4.50. But hey, it's something. Fill that card up. You can actually save some real money on that.
Something ain't nothing.
We're also something ain't nothing. Indeed. We're also brought to you by Briley Manufacturing. Huge supporters of 3-Gun and the IPSC Shotgun World. Robbie in the trailer at all the matches, supporting, keeping everybody's guns up and running. Just like they're, oh man, what did I see in rally? We went to a rally race, like, Subaru's driving through the trees at 100 miles an hour. And there's some company, I can't remember who it was, that basically had like essentially what Briley's doing in that world, where it's like for those privateer car guys where it's like a few buddies split a car. They can just like roll into the thing and are like, hey man, you rolling in? I can't remember what it costs, to work on the thing. They're like, whatever parts we have, like we'll do our best, and like, no guarantees because you just wrapped your Subaru around a tree, but we're going to try our very best. And like, that's pretty cool. And that's basically what Briley's doing for shotguns, because if one of your guns is going to go down in the match, let's face it, it's going to be the shotgun, because shotguns be shotgunning. And that's just the way that it is.
And we're on the outskirts of the envelope of what they can do.
Yes. Yeah. We are definitely, we're like those dudes that take Porsches and turn them into Dakar vehicles. And they're like,
Yes.
oh, yeah, let's take this
Yep.
Porsche 911 and give them 3 feet of suspension and then drive them
No
through
problem.
the desert. Yeah, exactly. This is going to be fine. In no way is this a terrible idea. But Briley is also the sponsor of the Briley Update. And today we are talking Battle for the South. Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. Man, have you been looking at match video from that?
I have. I got the FOMO really hard.
It looks good.
I feel heard,
looks
man.
good.
I feel like they heard what I said about that match, and
Wait. So you feel hurt because they
Heard.
heard what you said? And
I
they
heard. I feel like they heard what
Ah.
I said, and like
Gotcha.
took it to heart because I saw no shoot targets. I saw, a little bit more interesting arrays. I didn't see a bunch of ridiculous long range. Maybe that just didn't make the sizzle reel because it's boring to watch. But everything I saw looked awesome. I'm like, wait, what is this match? Why didn't I go to this match? And I felt left out. I felt left out and missed opportunity. We didn't do fantasy for battle.
Hey, there's too many matches and just there's not enough fantasy. So sometimes we're just gonna miss one. Sorry.
You could have worse problems than there being too many matches.
Yes, you definitely could. So
But-
we're gonna run down some standings here really quick and give people the shout outs that they deserve. We're gonna start in heavy division, like we used to do in the olden days. How many people are you looking at the scores right now?
I am.
Oh, okay. I was gonna ask you how many people you thought shot heavy division and
Well, I haven't-
watch your wheels.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
okay. You haven't seen that yet. Well, then how many do you think shot heavy division?
I saw that it was a short list, so
It is a short list.
7.
Ooh, 6 and 1 DQ. That's a pretty good guess.
6
Well,
and
it looks
1.
like Marcus. I'm gonna say Goldbach.
Yeah. It
Yep,
was
Marcus
it
Goldbach.
was the Goldbox show and everybody
Yep.
else that came out.
Yes, indeed. Yep. 30-point gap to second place. Jacob Pattison, and in the 3 spot, Jared Elliott. And yeah, our boy put a dent in everybody. On to modified. Now we're getting into the big guns. Oh, you know what? We're gonna do that different. We're gonna finish with open and modified. We're gonna spool up. How many people do you think are in TAC Ops?
Okay, I haven't looked at this one yet. In TAC Op, do you have to scroll?
No.
Okay, you don't have to scroll. 19.
6.
6?
Can we just call it a day, everybody? can
How the
we just-
mighty have fallen.
Can we just stop?
One
guys,
more than heavy?
We're done.
Like they
We're done.
almost. Wait,
No, they had the same because heavy
Yeah.
had 6 but 1 DQ.
yeah. If
So
Drew
yeah.
hadn't DQ'd, the same number of people showed up for heavy as TAC.
yes.
Like, I
Guys.
feel like I have
Oh.
to eat a hat or something. Like that.
Oh
that
no,
just,
no, no. Oh, we're done. We're
No,
done.
that's
Okay,
it.
it
It's
is
over.
The world has moved on.
It's over.
It is open and modified. Those are the divisions. Just stop it with everything else. We're
Oh,
done.
Wow.
Yep.
I don't know how I feel about this.
Well, I'll tell you what. I was a TO shooter for like a decade.
Yeah. Right.
I don't care at all. The world's moved on, and you know what? Dots on things is freaking sweet. Like I'm a fan. So,
Yeah, it's not like
yeah.
kind of like when I was a limited shooter and everyone had ideas about what limited should be. Like TAC shooters,
That weren't
like,
limited
limited shooters should all shoot short tubes on their shotguns. It's like, F you, dude. You don't even shoot this division.
Yeah, you
get a
don't shoot
vote.
this division. How about you shut up? All right. Well,
wow.
Patrick Beckman put out the hundo, taking down Eric Saby, which isn't an easy thing to do. Eric was at 65%, and then bit of a jump to Don Walker in the 3 spot. All right, on to divisions that matter. Did I say that out loud? I
Oh
did.
wow, he
That's all right.
did.
I did. We're all right.
Oh, he
Okay.
went there. He went there.
Modified division. I think we would have done pretty good in fantasy on this one. In the 1 spot, certainly not surprising me, Mr. Chuck Lowe. That man has been shooting extremely well. He is taking souls. He's shooting really, really good.
And division
uh,
mapping.
Yeah, and No, he usually shoots modified, doesn't he?
But he's shooting standard for a world shoot, so he's kind of like jumping back and forth. Dot
Oh,
shotgun.
oh
no
yeah,
dot
yeah.
shotgun.
You're saying he's division hopping in the different sports, which, by the way, makes it way harder to shoot any sport individually very well.
Right.
So yeah.
Story
So
of my
shout out
life.
to Chuck. Chuck put 11% into Matt Martini
What the
in
heck,
second place, which
Matthew.
is not an easy thing to do.
Matthew?
And
what are we doing?
Is it? Oh my God, I am going to butcher this.
Yeah,
I'm
you
sorry,
go ahead
homie.
on that one, buddy.
I'm gonna say Guillermo Aguilo.
Ooh, you know
I feel
what?
good about that.
Yeah,
I feel pretty good. About that.
he at least wouldn't like give you the side eye.
Yeah. He'd be like,
He'd
hey,
be good try,
nice,
gringo.
nice try.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd get the sympathy tap on the shoulder, like,
Yeah.
good try, buddy. Yep.
Can't
All right,
roll your eyes. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. It's all right. Yeah, I'm not gonna attempt to like really pronounce it, but just a couple points behind Matt Martini. So yeah, putting up a good fight in the 3 spot into open division, my favorite division, the best division. Surprising absolutely nobody. Varric Bicey with the hundo.
Yep.
Yay.
Varric Bicey just having a
Varric
match
won
by
a
himself.
3-gun match. Oh my God, that's so crazy.
Oh wait, but B Nelson. Look at B Nelson in 6th place.
Wait, what?
What happened,
Dude,
buddy?
something happened to B Nelson for sure. But yeah, we got Tom McCaskill in the 2 spot and Tim Powell in the 3 spot. Yeah, B Nelson in 6th place. What the? My guy. I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like there's a story behind that.
What's going on with these scores too? Because you look at percentage points possible for Varric and Jeff, where it's like exponential. It's like 10 decimal places behind, and then like in modified, it's the same thing for Guillermo, Chris, and Ray, and Mitchell, and then in TAC.
I don't know.
There's
man.
one more, Don Walker. Like there's these really, really long. It's like, what happened there? I know
Just
not.
a line of nines.
999.
Yeah. No idea. Well, whatever the heck happened. Yeah, man, I just do not know. I don't know. Brian, hey, maybe go talk to your boys. Talk to your boys.
Yep. Time.
Yeah, we'll see.
Phone a friend.
Yep, indeed. All right, folks. You know what time it is. Or maybe some of you don't, because I got the feeling that
most
a
of you
lot
don't
of you
know what time it is.
A lot of you are new listeners here. And here's the deal for all of you new listeners. There's 2 Adams on this show, and I know that can be confusing. That's why when we're talking to each other on the show, we refer to each other by our last names, because people actually wrote in and were like, guys, this is confusing the shit out of me. Just talk to refer to each other as your last names. If you see us in the real world, it's really easy to tell which one of us is which, because I am the one that's shorter than most of the junior shooters. That should be pretty obvious if you see us standing side by side. You can assume that the short one is Riser.
And I wear his belt for a headband.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, I can do the Linda Turnbull with my ear pro and just put my ear pro around my waist.
Oh, you
So,
suck so bad. I
it's
wanna do
pretty
that so
sweet.
bad.
Dude, it's sweet. I'm telling you, man. Like, that's worth the crash diet just for that. Like, just
Dude,
slapping the
I
ear
would-
pro around the stomach. It's
I
kind
would
of
be-
awesome.
I would take still being short on Monday if I could do that with my ear.
No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. It gets old fast. All right. Well, we are. Here's the deal, folks. We have a little thing we call Gary of the Day. Now, I feel like we need to reintroduce the Gary of the Day a little bit, because I have the feeling we're about to get a whole bunch of new listeners. There is, the way that all of this started, there is an Instagram channel called Jerry of the Day. And it is basically dedicated to skiers who were just effing blowing it. Like dudes with their helmets on backwards, getting tangled in the chairlift and stopping everything, stuff like that. It's like skinning across the parking lot with your skis on the gravel, things along those lines where you're like, this dude is just messing up.
I saw one this week. It was a golf one. Like the dude was like letting the hill like roll his golf bag. Like he didn't have his hand on it. Like, oh, look at me. And,
Yep.
I'm just letting gravity do the work. And then all of a sudden it took off on him.
Yep.
and rolled down the hill and it crashed into a tree. Like
Solid. Yeah,
that's
exactly.
That's Gary of the day. So like
Yeah. So here's the deal. We couldn't call it Jerry of the day because,
our Lord
Jerry's
and
the
Savior.
goat, and
Yeah.
you can't name the thing about people messing up after the best the sport has ever seen. So we named it Gary of the day. It is basically people blowing it. We have each ourselves been the Gary a lot. So
Well-
when you're like, oh, these guys are just making fun of people. Yeah, we make fun of ourselves more than we make fun of the other people. We're trying to help. We're trying to point out, hey, if you're
with
doing
love.
this thing, maybe stop doing this thing. And another thing that's going on here is the Gary of the Day is brought to you by American Defense Manufacturing, makers of excellent rifles, fine clippy bits, the best quick detached mounts you can get. And they have a bit of a deal here going on, folks. If you send us your Gary to ontheperfpodcast@gmail.com and we use it on the show, you get the ADM optics mount of your choice.
Yep.
And I'm told we have ourselves a Gary today.
We do.
What do you got for us, Maxwell?
Fun ADM factoid for this week. I was actually I was working with ADM in a place, and my teaching one of the rifles that I teach with quite a bit, one of the ones I'm trying to shoot a barrel out of actually, I was shooting a lot, and I was having a lot of blown primers. Like this has been the spring of like subpar 223 ammo. I've never seen so many ammo issues across so many brands in so many ages. Yeah, it's just tumbling bullets, blown primers, low pressure, everything. I have been getting a lot of blown primers from this gun. So I'll be like shooting a demo, and then I got a primer floating around, like locking up my gun. I was trying to figure it out, and Tom was like, "Hey, let me take that one back to the mothership. I think you might have a carbon ring in your chamber." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "If you shoot a high volume
it's causing
of suppress,
pressure spikes. Yep.
yeah, high volume of suppressed, which that gun does. It shoots almost exclusively suppressed. It can build up. I've seen it before." And he said the chamber mouth was completely filled with hard carbon to that would crimp the case mouth. The lead of the rifling also had a heavy carbon ring for the first inch, first 32nd of an inch in the rifling grooves, completely filled with carbon, and a ring over the rifling lands. So carbon buildup in front of the chamber had gotten to the point that essentially when the bullet would jump, it stalled for a little bit before the powder could like push it through that carbon spike or that carbon ring. And
so you got a pressure spike.
Yeah, so that was causing my issues. I'm like, wow, that's a new one. Haven't seen that one before. So, all you kids out there who don't like to clean your guns, maybe just
maybe do clean your guns.
Maybe tickle it with a chamber brush once in a while. I don't know. And I do actually scrub my chamber quite a bit, or periodically. But still, like that, the volume that thing's on. We had a carbon ring. So that's your ADM fun fact for the day. The Gary of the day is. The Gary of the day is texting the RO signal chat during a match with a picture declaring when you cleared a rifle someone was shooting quote-unquote green tip. In parentheses, they were polymer tip TMKs.
Yes.
And then getting torn apart in the chat for it. Guys.
And rightfully so.
Green tip doesn't mean green tip. The green tip that we're looking for is steel core penetrator rounds, usually from military surplus ammo, like M855, where they have that steel core in the middle. I do kind of think that's a lot to do about nothing, because I have seen that stuff shot at steel before.
If you want to really rile up Brian Nelson, ask him about that, because he's actually experimented with this quite a bit.
Yeah.
And you know how Brian likes to experiment. And he has, through all of his experimentation, come to the conclusion that it makes absolutely zero difference.
Right.
Like you're either close enough that 223 is damaging steel, or you're not.
Yeah.
The actual bullet itself completely irrelevant.
Yeah, it's the speed, kids. It's the speed
Yes.
that hits the
Speed kills. Speed
and
kills.
back in the Dizzy, when I was still in Minnesota, we had like this mystery. We had this mystery green tip floating around. Somebody was punching through the steel targets, the little Skinny Sammy auto poppers. Somebody, and they were going around with magnets. They were checking everybody. They were trying to find it. This was also the year that I know Jake Latola was doing it, and I don't know if Nathan Payne was, but a couple of those guys, that was the year they got it in their head that they liked screamer bullets. They were pushing like 50 grain bullets at some crazy speed because it was super soft.
Mm-hmm.
They were the ones zipping the target.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were shooting super small bullets at Mock Jesus, and they were zipping right through the steel.
Speaking of burning out barrels.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so green tip, but there are people they do, in all the rules, it is against the rules to shoot AP and steel core ammo. But that doesn't mean that if a bullet manufacturer wants to use a green polymer tip, like Hornady uses a red one, but if the TMKs use a green one, like I've seen it in, it's probably Sierra. Sierra probably uses the green ones, huh? But yeah, the Sierra bullet, it's just a green.
Yeah,
it's a green plastic blunt.
The TMK
That's not.
is a tip match king, right?
There ain't no way you're getting that thing to stick to a magnet, buddy.
Nope, ain't happening.
All right, so
well, sir,
if you are,
whoever you are,
yeah, if that was your Gary of the day, go ahead and hit me on that email. We will get you set up with ADM, and we will get you squared away with your prize.
Heck yeah. Well, our topic for the day, folks, we're going to talk about what gear actually matters, because there's a lot of misinformation out there, and there's a serious point of like diminishing returns in all three of the guns about what you should spend your money on. And we have both been through this from start to finish. I have bought just about every dumb little thing that you can possibly imagine for most guns. And some of those things make a huge difference. Some of the things don't make a huge difference. And we're going to kind of get into that a little bit. But before we do, we're going to share a little lesson that I had, because I went out to Parma. It's probably about 2 weekends ago now, but I've been working on some NR Hunter stuff. I got another match coming up with my buddy Rick here. It'll be about a week out when this podcast drops. And so I've been doing some 6.5 Creedmoor long range shooty stuff. And it was my first. Oh, okay. Reminds you what?
Now
Parma.
Yeah, Parma.
Yep.
Now we lost our 3-man team member, right? So
yeah.
R.I.P. Colby Page. We still love you.
So wait. So is our new guy confirmed?
Yeah, he's confirmed.
Are you about to drop a name on the podcast? Because this is a one-way street here, buddy.
Hell yeah. Yeah, we're gonna make him come now.
All right.
No backing
it's
out.
Confirmed.
No backing out.
It's confirmed. All
we
right.
Got it. The people's
drum
champ.
roll, please.
The people's champ. We got Kyle Litzy, baby.
Yeah, not the people's champ, the actual champ.
The world champ.
The fucking champ, boys.
Yeah.
The champ.
The king.
Yeah. We are bringing ringers, son. So we're gonna come in and wreck house.
He was
wait.
He was like, "Do I have to shoot a shotgun? I don't really have one of those anymore."
You're like, "No, we got you."
And I was like, we'll dig one up. Just bring an extra super sweet PCC that we could share, and I'll bring you a shotgun." Yeah. We both like shooting shotguns, so we'll just kind of protect you from shotgun like the last time we did.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll just do the same thing. We're like, maybe we should put the rifle world champ on the rifle heavy stuff, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. And then I was like, it's a shenanigans match, so I was like, bring everything. He's like, everything? Yes. I'm like, everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I got a 6.5 gas gun. I'm like, yep, bring that.
Yep. Yeah. If it fits in the car, pile it in.
If it fits it.
Yeah, this is a back your truck up to the safe and just push everything into the back and drive to the level match.
Yep. And all right, so back to you pre-gaming high des at Parma.
Oh yeah. So I went down shooting the NRL Hunter match. Went down to Price, not Parma, because it's like the convenient, go shoot long range stuff down here. And
it seemed like more than a day trip.
It did seem like more than a day trip. Yeah, Price is a couple hours from the house. Parma's like 5. So it was my first chance to play around with the Talon binos.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god! Like, you boys were not kidding. Those things are so nice. Like, way better glass. Way better glass. I got the 12 powers, and I had to go buy a new bino harness because they are not small. And, so I just drove to Shields and bought a new bino harness. I was like, well, those don't fit in the old ones. And but yeah, way better. The 10 powers are like tripod mandatory. But I'm glad I went that way because the clarity on animal shaped targets where you need to ID a target as a chicken or a deer or whatever the heck. Like I have real trouble with that because my eyes aren't that good anymore. But so a few things about them. This is the first time I've ever actually used range finding binos with like a ballistics calculator built into them. And especially these ones that actually have like a weather station built into them. So they automatically adjust for barometric pressure and all that other fun stuff. Dude, it's cheating. You just like click on the thing. Oh, that's 875, come up 5.3. You dial 5.3, you shoot the thing. It's amazing. I still think I'm going to run hard dope for NRL Hunter matches and use it as like a cross check. So it'll be an indication like, hey, your density altitude has changed. So now your dope is a little bit off. Cause the problem with the hard dope is like, you can just set one dope card and that's kind of your card for the match unless you like make a bunch of them.
I thought it was 30 needles.
Yeah. I mean, that is a problem.
Yeah.
But I still think it's faster just to like circle a number than it is to like write everything down. So I think I'm going to use it as like a kind of a cross-reference thing, but this is the thing that I'm the most excited about. I didn't know this was a feature until I just started like scrolling through menus and I'm like, oh, select reticle. Like I can make it a box or a square or a triangle or a circle. I'm like, that'll be nice. And I'm like, oh, there's like 20 options in here. So I start scrolling down. Yeah. One of those options is a reticle. And it would just automatically matches the style of reticle that your rifle's using. So if you're shooting a rifle with the mil reticle and that's the dope that's pulling, it just loads a mil reticle. And if you're shooting an MOA reticle, it just loads an MOA reticle. Having a reticle in rangefinder binoculars when you're calling corrections for your buddy, super nice. Because instead of being like, hey man, you're like a target and half left, you can be like, dude, come right 0.6. Like, how is this not the first thing mentioned in all the ads? It's so nice.
I'm kind of having a vulnerable day here, but I'm gonna have to admit that I didn't know that either.
That's what I'm saying. Nobody does. Nobody knew. I found out on accident. Nobody told me like, hey man, here's a super cool and also very handy feature. It's so buried in all the other super cool and very handy features that nobody even talks about it. But I'm telling you, it's awesome. It's super awesome.
It's there because we get people calling and we're like, hey, do you have any binoculars with reticles in them? And we used to a long time ago, and they used to because they didn't sell very well, so they stopped making them. And everyone's like, oh, you should bring it back. You should bring it back. And I'm like, okay, you and 3 of your friends are gonna buy one, and then who else? So now I can be like, oh, we do have that. It's just our offensively expensive pair that has that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like when you try to explain like how good these things are, like I say, if you look at the price tag, offensively expensive, and then you look through them, and then like, yeah, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
that's how good they look.
It fully is. Yeah, they are ridiculously good. But this is the thing that I learned. Well, I learned that, but this is the important thing. So in the last NRL Hunter match, me and my buddy Rick both had a couple mystery mics where we were just like, dude, I swear to God, reticle is on there, good wind call, I broke the trigger, and I hit high, and I just do not understand why. We both had like 3 or 4 of those. Eventually we were like, man, I don't recall checking parallax on that stage. Like maybe that was it. So I'm like, I'm going to go down to the range because I've always heard like the numbers on your parallax dial. So for those of you who don't know, your parallax is the focus knob on the left side of your turret. On old school scopes, it would be the actual bell out front. On, I think, kind of all modern scopes, it's like a left side adjustment. Does anybody make anything with like a bell out front?
Except like really cheap ones. There are some like really economy ones. It's still
Okay.
that's the most I think that's the most cost effective way to do it. But the turret is more mechanically sound from what I remember.
Gotcha. Yeah. By the way, in Saving Private Ryan, the sniper scene in the bell tower, when he like,
didn't.
Yeah, he climbs up on the brakes and then he like looks and he's like, "Oh, it's 800 yards, up 2 clicks," and he adjusts the he adjusts the parallax. I'm like, God damn it, dude! You were so close to being perfect. You just had to ruin
McCollum
it.
just wasn't having it.
Oh man, yeah, it bummed me out. Anyways, yeah. So the numbers on that knob kind of don't mean a lot. Especially if you're like me and you wear corrective lenses and your eyes are weird and everything else. So for me, so the way you want to check this, also your parallax isn't necessarily where your target is focused at. So there can be quite the range where your target is in focus, but your parallax may or may not be correct. For me, my correct parallax is all the way at one end of the range where the target is in focus. So the way that you actually check this is if you get behind the rifle, and you can do this without interfering with the rifle at all, you can move your head up and down or left and right and see if the reticle moves relative to the target. So the best way to do this, if you have a rifle with a folding stock, it's way easier. Put your rifle on a tripod or bipod or whatever, collapse the stock so there's just literally nothing behind your scope. Put that thing on a target, move your head up and down. If the reticle stays in the same place on your target, you're good to go. If it moves at all, your parallax is not correct. So you adjust that focus knob as you're moving your head up and down until the target stops moving relative to the reticle, or vice versa. For my scope with my eyes, using a pair of glasses that have a prescription, my 400-yard correct parallax, it reads 200 yards. My 900-yard correct parallax reads 250, and my 1,400-yard correct parallax reads 300 yards. I don't think I went inside of 180, and that was like 120. So I have been rolling out to stages with my parallax set at 500 yards because I was like, oh, that's about the average distance of the target that we shoot in the sport. Sometimes farther, sometimes shorter, sometimes way farther, sometimes way shorter, but 500 yards seems like a good starting point. Turns out 500 yards is actually like 2,800 yards for my eyes on that scope. So I put a piece of tape around it and I like Sharpied in where the actual distances are. And now I roll out to a stage with it set on 200 yards, which is actually correct for 400 yards because that seems like a safe medium point. And I learned that if I just leave it there, I get about 1/10 worth of movement at 800 yards. So I can pretty much leave it at 200 yards depending on the target size. But those numbers don't mean shit. And you need to check. If you're doing really precision stuff at distance, you actually need to go through and figure out what your scope does relative to your eyes. Some people are lucky, and it's like if the target's in focus, their parallax is right. I'm not one of those people, neither is my buddy Rick. But this is information worth knowing because mystery mics suck. Nothing sucks worse than like everything's perfect, bang, and you miss high or low, and you're like, dude, what the F? Like, I did all the things, and I just missed, and I just don't know why. And it might be that.
Yep.
Might be that.
Not going to get Dos Ocho that way.
You're not going to get Dos Ochos doing that. For sure not. No, you are not.
I have heard, they do tell us that, like, it's kind of an estimation, not necessarily a bang-on thing, because that is sometimes something that people call in about. It's been a while since I've gotten those kind of calls. I haven't heard of it. I haven't heard of exactly that scenario, though, of it being, like, that wildly different. Maybe we have to bring yours in and see if it's calibrated properly.
Yeah, go for it. I mean, it works whether it's in the right
Hey, if it's
number
working, it's
or not.
working.
Like, yeah, like I
Don't-
really don't. I just
Yeah.
wrapped a piece of brown tape, like Target tape, around it and
Don't take guns
sharpied
that
in
are
a couple
working
numbers
apart.
on my own. And, yeah, exactly. So, no, it's doing good. It's doing good. Well, about important gear. I mean, when it comes to gear that matters, I think, especially if you're shooting scopes, I think that's the number one thing. Like you can get away with a lot of stuff, but shitty optics just suck. Like,
Are
red
we
dots that
assuming
break.
good guns? We're assuming good guns, right? We're just talking about accessories.
I mean, like I'm no, like all things. Like, yeah, let's say you have a decent-ish gun. You know, you might make some trigger upgrades, things like that. But like, let's say you're starting kind of like medium gun, right? You're not shooting the super fancy stuff. So like, gun upgrades, gear upgrades, stuff like that. For me, I go to optics first. I would rather shoot a super nice optic on a trash rifle than a $2,000 rifle with a $300 scope.
yeah, I did because I started off with a red dot because I just wanted to shoot M4 style stuff. So I started off with an aimpoint comp M2, and yeah, when I first jumped to an LPVO, my first one was actually a Trijicon TR24, and then after that the next one I got was a Razor. But yeah, jumping to a quality LPVO, that was a pretty big jump. Yeah, I would say rifle optics for sure are
Yeah.
a big one. I guess I'm a bit biased on that one. But
Yeah, but like, I mean, like Jerry says all the time, like, dude, it's a visual sport.
yes,
Like, you can only shoot as well as you can see. Like, that's why, modified shooters and TAC op shooters, all 6 of them, outshoot limited shooters. Like, if it didn't matter, then everybody would shoot the same scores in the long range, but it super does matter.
mm-hmm.
And especially if, man, you're on that morning squad in South Carolina and the freaking dew's riding off the grass, and it's, or you're in Kentucky or something like that, shooting at the Rock back in the day. Like, dude, like the quality of optics matters so much that, I have a lot of people at work and just general friends that, like, hey, I just got my first AR and I'm, putting whatever, like, which one of these $300 scopes is the best. And I'm like, dude, don't buy any of those. Like, none of them. Like, not even the one that says Vortex on the side. Like, skip that step, save some more money.
Yeah.
Start at like PST Gen 2 is where I tell people to start. I'm like, they're on up. Like, that's just skip that first step, man. Like, it's not worth it.
Yeah, like I understand the place for the more economy stuff. And gosh, we sell a lot of it. All right, we sell a lot of it, but man, for competition use, if like this is really something you want to be into, and or professional use, like when they ask about the more entry level stuff, it's always like, ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah,
like,
if you're shooting pumpkins in the desert, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
But if like
whatever.
if you're flying halfway across the country to shoot a match and you're gonna tank one stage because of the scope, or your life might depend on this, do not cheap out. Like, this is, for me, place number 1 to like spend money.
Yeah, it's definitely, and it's kind of one of those things where you don't really get it until you see it, and then once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't go backwards. It's real rough.
Yeah. I would say
all right,
equally
where
as
you at?
important is a belt system.
That's exactly where I was going next.
It's one of the hardest places to spend money because it's like, oh, it's a belt. But like, make or break, like having a really good belt system that is set up correctly and, in the multi-gun sports, configurable. Being able to manage all that equipment, having it where you need it so that your hand falls on it the right way, but it comes out easy, but it also retains it while you're running around. Like, really good belt equipment it's kind of one of those things you can't even borrow. Like, you can borrow anything else that you need for the match, but you almost can't borrow a belt.
Yeah. I super can't, because everyone's belt would have to wrap around twice and it'd be a problem. And you definitely can't borrow my belt without a lot of duct tape.
Yeah. Right?
but yeah, and there's a lot of ways to go on the belt. I mean, the standard move in multi-gun is the Safariland ELS, because just a lot of people run that system and it makes the sharing really easily.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been running forever. I actually just retired my first Safariland ELS belt that I bought in 2013.
Wow.
This thing has been going hard, and I bought a backup belt, and I actually bought it with like a 34, 36 inch length, because for those new listeners, I have a 28 inch waist, and having a waist that small when you're a 3-gun shooter is super hard because you have to put a lot of shit on your belt and you don't have a lot of real estate to work with, so you end up doing all kinds of squirrely stuff. But I had that backup belt that's just been like the loaner. I'm taking somebody out for their first match or something like that. I have it all set up so I can just like, hook them up. And I just cut the end off of that one so I could make it short enough, because it's seen, 50 days or something, and the other one's seen a couple thousand. And but yeah, so that thing lasted a long time. So I got 13 years of use out of that belt. Is my math right? Pretty sure. Yep. I got 13 years of use out of a belt. So it's like, oh, this belt's, I don't know, $80 or whatever it is. Like, yeah, divide that by 13. Yeah, divide that by $13. That's a pretty chill expense. But
so
there's a lot of ways to go.
You're so
oh
much
my
more
God.
comfortable. Yeah.
Well, and when you're like running at a dead sprint with like 30 rounds of shotgun and 2 pistol mags and 2 rifle mags, like having a good stiff belt matters so much. I've seen so many people lose stuff just because their belt's floppy and it just yeeted a rifle mag out or something like that. Like that happens all the time. Yeah, I'd say belt is a solid second. Your holsters matter.
Yeah,
holsters matter. Now, you don't need the fanciest thing. You don't need the most expensive thing. But you do need something that retains your gun well. If you're shooting USPSA, you can get away with a lot. If you're shooting multi-gun, have a retention holster. Don't have a holster that like, oh, I really got to like pull to get this thing out of here. Like, I bet I've seen no less than a dozen people get DQ'd from matches for just having holsters pop out.
Yep.
Like without breaking a sweat. Might be twice that. But like comfortably a dozen. Retention holsters matter. There's a few ways to go. There are retention holsters that hang on to your gun in some way and you like press a little button to defeat it, and then there's like hood style holsters. You run a hood, right?
Yep. Yeah, I do.
Yeah. What do you think? Do you like it?
I used to, but once I started getting the wider paddle thumb safeties on it, then I had a bit of a clearance issue so that it would snick the safety off.
Oh yeah, Rube borrowed a knife to fix that problem in Arizona this year.
Yeah, so I'm probably courting other people right now in Holsterland. I'm thinking about reinvesting in a new one, or putting a slimmer safety on that side. That would fix it too. But
are you running the standard wide or the shielded?
Standard wide. I don't like the shielded safeties.
Neither do I. Dude, don't change your safety. Change your holster. That standard wide's the way.
I probably will.
Yeah.
I probably will.
I like I ran the ALS holsters when I was in Glock World, the Safariland ones. I liked those a lot, but I don't like them when I'm running a 1911 platform pistol or a CZ, where you have an external safety, because I don't like interfacing with a button and the safety at the same time. I want those things to be separate. So I switched to a GLS holster. I ran that for quite a while, and then eventually I ran through a few of those. I had a completely custom holster built by Light and Custom Gunworks out here in Utah, and he did a great job. It was super expensive because he basically had to buy a GLS holster and then throw away the holster part and then build a custom holster around this mechanism. So it wasn't cheap and it wasn't quick, but it was very good. And I like the GLS because you just grip the gun and you defeat the button as you're drawing it. Depending on how you sling your rifle on slung rifle stages, you can pop your pistol out unslinging your rifle. So if you go like muzzle down on the strong side, when you go to unsling the rifle, you can catch that button with your sling and end your match right there. So if you do it that way, you need to be super careful about it. But I like that style, and I like that style because if you have to reholster, which you occasionally do, it just locks your holster when you drop it into the pistol, where like the hood style, you have to flip up the hood when you put the pistol back in there. Otherwise, you no longer have a retention holster.
Yep.
So that's pretty nice. But, yeah, buy yourself a good retention holster, whatever it is. There are lots and lots of options out there. Multi-gun is not the place for race holsters. The 0.2 of a second you're going to save on the draw by going with a full-on race holster, by God, is not worth it. We lay down in the dirt with our gun still holstered. We roll around. We jump over walls. We do all kinds of crazy shit. Do not run a race holster. That's a terrible idea. Do I need to say that again, or are we all good? We're good? Okay, cool. Glad to hear that.
You'll probably also kind of wreck your race holster, too. Like, they're not really made for
They're not
like,
built for that.
Like,
yeah.
they'll hold it in there, but, like, it's not good for it. Like, when the Safariland 015 came out, and, like, I think Travis Gibson was running around with them for a little while, and
a lot of people were.
Yeah, I was playing with it for a bit, and I wore one out. But and yeah, it kind of no. You want a more solid holster. Unfortunately, a lot of the really good ones and a lot of like the newer stuff it's more duty oriented, so it's more set up for guns with lights. So a lot of times, like a lot of the good like Safariland stuff and whatnot you can get, but you have to have a light on for it to work correctly. So I've gone kind of back and forth on that too. If I could get into a passive retention holster, but I use a light, and but yeah, like I said, I'm kind of between holsters. Like the one I have, I actually really need to get something else for what I'm doing right now.
Yep. Yeah. I like the JLS. I think it's the way. You can wear them out. Speaking of the man, Kyle Litzy did get DQ'd from Nats, right?
Yes. Yep. He actually. Yeah.
He got DQ'd from Nats because his GLS wore out. So yeah, I actually went back to LCH and ordered a whole nother holster because I haven't shot a non-retention holster in USPSA for about 8 years now, and I was like, maybe I should have one. And I also just didn't want to wear out my retention holster, so I just bought another holster to use in all my practice and stuff like that. Run the retention holster matches, but yeah, your holster. Not a place to go cheap.
Nope. And the attachment system for it.
Yeah. Do you run a quick detach, or do you just keep it on your belt?
Most of my multi-gun stuff, I run QLS. So I run a little bit of the Safariland drop offset, and then I put a QLS, which is the tongue and fork kind of thing. Yeah. So that's what I use most of the time, and then I'm most on like dedicated pistol stuff. I use a lot of QLS there too, or I got a Boss hanger off a prize table, and I've been using that one. That's my limited optics rig currently. Yeah, I use the QLS too. I just have one belt for everything, so whether I'm shooting pistol matches, rifle matches, multi-gun matches, I just have the same belt, and I just kind of like change where I put all the mag pouches and stuff. So I just have a QLS, and then I can just drop in, whatever pistol I'm running. Mm-hmm. So that works out pretty good. Those are nice and burly. They're not duty rated, so if you get mugged while you're on the range and somebody tries to wrestle your gun away from you, they're probably going to win. But if that's not happening, then you're probably just fine. Yep.
Yeah. What else really matters, dude? Like, so when it comes to the guns themselves, I don't think you could win a major match with any rifle or any pistol or any shotgun, but you could do quite well with any pistol that ran and was accurate enough.
Yeah, you could do quite well with mediocre stuff.
Yeah, you could do quite well with mediocre stuff. You could do quite well with most rifles. I think the places where you fall down is the shotgun matters. Like, cheap shotguns will ruin your match.
Yep.
Period.
And that's a tempting place for people to go cheap, because they're kind of like trying to phone in the shotgun so they can do the rest of it.
Yeah, exactly. And this is one of the things that keeps people out of 3-gun, because like, you know, you can either get the JM Pro for $900 or $400 and whatever dollars, or you kind of have to like step it up just a little bit. I shot a Jam and Malfunction Pro for 1 season, and Parma very decisively showed me that was a terrible choice. We had a match. Me and Eric were both shooting Jam Pros. We had a match where we were completely like stripping that thing to nothing and polishing the tube around the gas ring with like a wire bristle, you know, brush thing between stages. Like, you know, because there's big, you know, Iron Man stages, and you know, so you're shooting 30 rounds of shotgun on every single stage or something like that. And so we would have like a 20-minute shotgun cleaning session between each stage. That got real old real fast. I think the Wednesday after that match, I had sold my gun, and I bought a Stoeger M3000. This was in 2014, and I shot that gun for a long time. I think if you're, it's sort of like the scope. I wouldn't go below like a PST Gen 2. For shotguns, I wouldn't go below a Stoeger M3K. I think that's like the baseline. What's your take?
Really, I would buy a Benelli.
Or would you just go straight to the Benelli?
I would go straight to the Benelli, and if I was trying to not go straight to the Benelli, I would buy a Benelli M1 Super 90 used. Like, I would buy an old Benelli before I would buy any of the mid-tier stuff used or new personally. If you shop around, you can get a pretty good deal on field grade M1s and M2s. So I just wouldn't do it. It's not worth doing if you don't go to the Benelli or Beretta. Some people have mixed luck with the M5.
Beretta
A5s.
or Breda?
Beretta.
Okay.
Although Breda had a phase. Are they still importing them? I don't know if you can even still get them.
I don't know. I haven't seen them for a while. There was a minute where like half the field was shooting Bredas, and then they just kind of went away.
They were everywhere, and then they were nowhere.
Yeah, which is probably in and of itself just not a good sign. So, but you know what's been around forever? The Benelli M2. It has been the obvious choice for 2 decades. You kind of can't go wrong. And aftermarket support, you know, you can just like rip on over to Briley and throw as much stuff on that thing as you want. OTP 10 gets 10% off if you're doing that, by the way.
Absolutely.
I think that's the move. What if you're going into open division? What would be your shotgun choice? What would be your baseline shotgun choice? Like, do you think there is an option that isn't going all the way to a Vepr?
I mean, there's a couple tiers of Vepr, you know, at Dissident, but I think you're either going Dissident or Genesis. I'd lean more towards the Dissident side of the house, but there are people who are, you know, Brian and Joe are being successful with Genesis. But I think those are the 2 powerhouse ones right now in open.
Yep. Is there any other open division shotgun that you would even consider buying?
No, not that I'm aware of. No.
Neither am I. I've oh man, I think I might have told you this, but so shooting, what match was it? It was South Carolina. What was in South Carolina last year? Gosh darn it, I can't remember the match. Anyways, we're shooting. Somebody had oh man, I'm blanking on the name of the shotgun. What's name, like kind of the budget,
VR80?
the entry level? Yes, the VR80, the VR maybe. Anyways, So somebody's shooting one of those and they're talking like, oh, I understand that these things have, but like mine's been 100%. I've never met a person that their gun isn't 100%. So like literally 3 minutes after they just said that, they step to the line, bang, click, horrific malfunction. And the dude standing next to me just turns and he goes, Sex Panther. And I was like, what? And he goes, Sex Panther. 60% of the time, it works every time. I just like lost my shit. So now whenever any freaking any VR80 malfunctions, I'm just like Sex Panther. Yeah, those don't treat you good, man. They don't treat you good. I remember it was a High Desert Championship about 3 years ago. One of the dudes was shooting he was shooting Trooper, and he was walking around. So in Trooper Division out there, you can basically there are no rules. You can do whatever you want, but you have to carry all of your stuff the entire day. He was carrying around 3 VR80s, and as they broke, he would just kind of part them out and put them together into one that ran, and then shoot that for the next stage. And then this part broke and would tear.
For real?
For real, yeah. It was rowdy, dude. It's like, holy shit, man. Like, you can just buy one nice shotgun for the same price as the 3 shitty ones. Yeah.
For me, that's like the guys at the Pheasants Forever, the Ducks Unlimited banquets or whatever. They buy the big rolls of raffle tickets for the gun raffles. It's like, dude.
Yep.
If you spend $500, you could just buy any of these guns that you actually want, right? Like you don't have to roll the dice on which one you get drawn for.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, well, I mean, some people just can't math. Well, what do you think? Is there anything else that's like on the list of things where people just gloss over that like really, really should be kind of pushed up the line a little bit?
I think good ammo. It's kind of taboo to buy quote unquote match ammo. It's like the temptation is always, oh well, like it's just 9 mil. It's just Hoser 55 grain. It's like, man, subpar ammo could really shut down your match. So like, for a lot of years, I was the same way. Like, no, I don't need that. It's just fancy. It's just, it's a bougie tax. But like, if you really care about your performance, like, it doesn't have to be the most expensive ammo, but quality ammo does matter. I wouldn't just buy the cheapest stuff you can get.
Yeah, and this is true, especially for a rifle. Once you get past, let's say 200 yards, that starts mattering a lot. The other place where it really matters is in shotgun ammo. So like, yep. I'll practice with the cheapest thing that my gun can run, but I will not shoot a match with anything other than like AA's, Hornady, Action Gunner. I can't remember what the Federal version is. Of like kind of on that same realm. Like Action Gunner is kind of its own separate thing, but quality shotgun ammo. So the Action Gunner is really interesting because there's actually like a little, is it plastic or cardboard, the disc at the front?
Plastic.
I can't remember. Yeah, so there's a little plastic disc at the front. The problem with shotgun ammo is when shotgun ammo gets warm or just kind of gets beat up, this is where all the Genesis guys can be like, no, my Genesis. I'm like, all right, everyone calm down. When shotgun ammo gets warm or beat up or anything, it tries to get not round. And especially if it gets super hot, it gets really malleable. Now, when you look at the front of a shotgun shell, it has petals or crimps, depending on how you want to describe it. And there will either be 4 or 6 or 8. As your shell warms up and gets beat up, it will try to take the shape of whatever geometric shape has 4 or 6 or 8 sides on it. So if you're shooting really, really shitty, cheap shotgun ammo and it is a 4 crimp, which not a lot are, it tries to become square. If you're shooting a 6 petal ammo, it will try to become what is that, a hexagon? Yeah, I think that's a hexagon. And if you're trying to shoot 8 petal ammo, it will try to become an octagon. The more pedals your shotgun ammo has, the more it will try to stay round. Or if it just has a round disc inserted into it and it's roll crimped like a slug, it will actually stay round like Action Shotgunner does. But by God, is that stuff expensive. And then also just like hull construction in general. There's some shotgun shells that once they get warm, you can just squeeze your fingerprints into the thing and be like, yeah. And other stuff like stays pretty stout. So when it comes match time, don't cheap out on your shotgun ammo. For practice, shoot whatever you want. Shoot the cheapest thing you can shoot. Totally fine. Understand you're going to have a few malfunctions. It'll be great practice for clearing malfunctions. I don't shoot cheap stuff in matches ever under any circumstances.
Yeah, like if anything, the pistol ammo I would let slide a little bit as long as it's a known quantity. But like we're hand loading that stuff most of the time, and I wouldn't say I'm doing anything special. But if you're going to a big match, like it's worth buying the good stuff. I would buy good rifle ammo. I would buy good shotgun ammo.
Yep. I feel like that's kind of it for like the stuff that like matters. Like, you know, I mean, you can go into like, yeah, the trigger's the next place to go, and then you need a free float of barrel, and comps are nice, and if you're an open division, probably have ports and go like,
I mean, you can go down those.
Yeah, you can go down
forever.
all that stuff forever, but like, this is like kind of just the list of like
macro
the things
food
that
groups. Yeah, I think that's
this is your meat and potatoes for sure, and like shockingly the things that people gloss over, like the scopes, man. Like I've seen people roll up with carbon fiber proof barrels and carbon braided handguards and, you know, $300 trigger groups and everything else with a $300 scope on top of that rifle. And I'm like, what in God's name are you doing? Like you did everything but shooting some 55 grain burner, the cheapest stuff that they could find. I'm like, dude, you're breaking my heart, man. You're doing everything backwards.
Yep.
So, yeah. Do the important stuff first. You got anything else for us, buddy? You look like that 2 hours of sleep is catching up with you.
I am fading. I don't know that you really have to buy it, but I also wrote down a ballistics calculator, like which ballistics calculator you use.
Yes. I am a recent convert. If you listen to our ballistics calculator episode, which, you know, I have to go back and listen to all these episodes and make sure the audio didn't do any weird stuff. That one was more interesting than I thought it was going to be. I was like, we got done recording that, and we're going to be like, well, we just lost 50% of our listeners.
I was skeptical.
Yeah, it was pretty all right. We did. For those of you wondering, there was a comfortably 10-minute section in there where I was trying to remember exactly what density altitude was relative to temperature and humidity and barometric pressure, and I couldn't remember how all those things played. And I just cut all of that out because I was like, this is pretty rough, and we're going to lose everybody, and we're going to do more harm than good if we don't.
I had to listen to it in real life.
Yeah, exactly. He's sitting across the table from me like, dude, did you just have a brain aneurysm? Are we doing all right here? Should we ask for medical attention? But yeah, so I used to use Applied Ballistics back in the day. Then they did an update, and they made it so complicated to use that I literally couldn't figure out how to use it anymore. So that went away. Then I ran Chairgun then I ran Strelok until Russia invaded and all Russian apps got banned, and then Strelok, it turned out, was from a Russian developer. So that went away. So then Chairgun popped up, which looked shockingly similar to Strelok, and ran that. And then we were having the ballistics calculator episode, and Maxwell's like, dude, you're not running geoballistics? And I'm like, no, what's that? And he was like, bro. And, so I got my geoballistics, and it's the best. It's way better than everything else going right now. And if you have all of the other Vortex goodies, it pairs with all of your stuff, so you can change your profiles and stuff like that. But it's just super simple. Like, the math is the same in all of them. Like, if you input the same thing, it's going to give you the same answers in all of them. Like, there's no wizardry that one of them does better, because like the math is the math. It's the interface that matters. and
Yep.
the interface in geoballistics is freaking rad. So
Absolutely.
yeah. So and like, there's a free version and there's a pro version. The difference is in the free version you can load one gun, and in the pro version you can just go to town. That's the only difference. So get the free version, play around with it. Even though I had some stuff coming, which if you pair any Vortex optics with it, it just automatically gives you the pro version. I just got impatient and I just bought the pro version. It was like $14. That's like one stage worth of 9mm. So you should probably just dish out and just buy the pro version and get it out of the way, unless you're going to buy the obscenely expensive rangefinder binoculars. But yeah, your ballistics app matters if you're shooting any matches with shooting past, I'm going to say 300 yards. Maybe inside of that.
Yep.
I'd say 200. Yep. Makes all the difference in the world. Yeah, that's it, folks.
All right.
Maxwell needs some sleep.
That's what we got.
Maxwell needs some sleep. All right, everybody. You know the deal. Or if you don't know the deal, but you want to keep those overlays handy, this is On the Perf, and we'll see you next time.